hi everybody. This is Sydney, and my strategy is called Questioning the Author. In this strategy, we're seeking to depose the author. So we want to take the author from being somebody that we often think can never be wrong, and now recognizing that they're a person with a perspective and that they are fallible, that what they say might not always be 100% true. And this strategy is especially great for struggling readers, and especially good for building their confidence. So we'll go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you all have the article entitled The Stickiness Factor? Yes? Two sides? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So this article, the topic here, it's from Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point that we read earlier about Paul Revere and how he spread his message. He has this other idea about what makes social phenomena stick around. Like, why is it that some trends, rise and fade really quickly, and why do some trends tend to stick around? He says there is a certain stickiness factor, that there is something about the way these social trends start that make them remain, that make them powerful. So, the way we're going to read about Malcolm Gladwell's ideas, we're going to read the section on the stickiness factor, introducing something that's probably very familiar to all of you guys from your childhood. And wherever the article says stop, we are going to stop. And I'm going to ask you guys some questions, or we're going to lead you guys in some questions in which we're directing the questions at the author. All right? You guys have any questions before we start? Okay. So I'll read the first paragraph for you guys, and then we'll jump around, okay? So follow along with me. In the late 1960s, a television producer named Joan Gans Cooney set out to start an epidemic. Her target was 3-, 4-, and 5-year-olds. Her agent of infection was television, and the virus she wanted to spread was literacy. The show would last an hour and run 5 days a week, and the hope was that if that hour was contagious enough, it could serve as an educational tipping point, giving children from disadvantaged homes a leg up once they began elementary school, spreading pro-learning values from watchers to non-watchers, infecting children and their parents, and lingering long enough to have an impact well after the children stopped watching the show. Alright, so at our first stop point here, what is the author trying to introduce to us in the beginning? Quentin?
The idea that someone has an idea to try and educate children.
Okay, good. So somebody has some sort of an idea to educate children. What else? What about that idea? So someone has an idea to educate children. Why is this revolutionary? People have been educating children for thousands of years. What else is the author telling us, Sarah?
Because she's using television as the virus.
Alright, so the author's telling us that she wants to use television. Somehow this might be important for us.
And she's trying to make it in a way where the child watching the television would want to come back himself rather than being forced to come back.
Oh, so making the children want to come back and learn more rather than being forced to come back. Great ideas. What else? What else is the author trying to introduce to us? So to all of you watching out there, an important element of this activity is wait time. Well, and tell me guys, why did the author word this section this way? He talks about virus, he talks about infection. Why do you think the author used those words? Quentin?
Probably because they wanted it to seem like it was just started out with something small and it spread out to something that covered a huge area. That, kind of like how contagious disease, kind of like the plague. It's like this little thing, but it spread out and had a huge effect on a lot of the world.
Oh, so looking at other viruses and infections like the plague, right? That it starts very local and spreads and affects thousands of people. Very interesting. What else? Why did the author use these words?
I think
Press?
he used the word contagious because once they really want to watch it, it's like they can start watching it and they can talk to their friends or whatever about it and how they like it, and slowly it spreads and more kids want to do it. It kind of becomes like a fad.
Oh, so that's really interesting reading into his use of contagious, right? Drawing the parallel, this should be something contagious, so something that kids would want to talk to their friends about. And then from them, it would spread to those that, so it says, right, from watchers to non-watchers. So that's where, very good. Very good. What else? Is the author being clear in this part? Or what was confusing about this? Sarah?
She wasn't really saying it like as normal people would say it, like she would just be, if we were talking like normal, she'd just be like, hey, I'm making this television show to do this, this, and this. But she like uses like analogies like spread like a virus and stuff like that.
Yeah, very good. So the use of analogies, right, is different from how people talk. We don't talk like this, in regular day speaking. So that could potentially be something unclear, could be confusion. Did you guys find this more confusing, or did you find this more adding to the message? Like, did you think it was a good choice or a bad choice? Jasmine?
I found it like more interesting. Like it made me want to keep reading to figure out like more information about this new epidemic.
Yes, you found it more interesting. Want to read on about this epidemic? Quentin?
I think it kind of could give the wrong idea because it's like saying it's spreading like a virus, and it could sort of be seen as a negative thing, even though it's supposed to be something about teaching kids. So I mean that's usually a positive thing. So.
Right, yeah, but the virus word could potentially be like a negative connotation, like, because usually that's a bad thing. So it could draw us in, could also make us, wonder if there's something bad in this. Very good, guys. You guys are doing very well so far. All right, who wants to go ahead and pick up that next short paragraph? Jackie, go ahead.
Cooney probably wouldn't have used these concepts or described her goals in precisely this way, but what she wanted to do in essence was create a learning epidemic to counter the prevailing epidemics of poverty and illiteracy. She called her idea Sesame Street.
All right, so what new information does the author give us?
The name of the television program that they were starting.
Okay, so now we have a name to this thing we've been talking about, right? This new virus, or this new mode of infection that she wants, right? Sesame Street. What else? What other new information do we have? Jackie?
That like she knew like how she was trying to describe what she was doing, like maybe wasn't like not necessarily the wrong thing or the best thing to do, but she wanted to do it like in a different way to like prove what she wanted to show.
All right, so she was going to do this in a different way, achieving her goals in a different way. For us?
She wanted to like fight poverty and illiteracy.
Okay, so now we have a purpose too. The author introduced a purpose to us and why she's doing this. If she wants to fight poverty, wants to fight illiteracy. Great, you guys are doing great. Anything else? Alrighty, so that was a short one. Good job, guys. So we got some new information now, right? We know that this is something new, right? That this is something that we want to spread from one area to a large group of people, watchers of the program and non-watchers. We know the program is Sesame Street, and we know that, she's trying to work against poverty, illiteracy, and that she's going to do this in a new way. So just taking your guys' words so far. Very good. Who wants to go ahead and read the next paragraph? Jasmine, go ahead.
By any measure, this is an audacious idea. Television is a great way to reach lots of people, very easily and cheaply. It entertains and dazzles, but it isn't a particularly educational medium. Gerald Lesser, a Harvard University psychologist who joined with Cooney in founding Sesame Street, says that when he was first asked to join the project back in the late 1960s, he was skeptical. I had always been very much into fitting how you teach to what you know about the child, he says. You try to find the kid's strengths so you can play to them. Then you try and teach the individual kid's profile. Television has no potential, no power to do that.
All right, very good. Thanks, Jasmine. So, what is clear, what is unclear in the author's writing in that part?
That TV's easy to entertain people and like easy to get a hold of.
So what he's saying about TV is easy to understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like everyone watches it and stuff.
Everyone watches it, right? He says it entertains, right? Dazzles you. Good. Quentin?
It's saying that, the person went to, a Harvard professor for help, but then the Harvard professor turns around and says that it's not going to work, so.
All right, and that kind of gets me to my other question I had. What is the author trying to tell us in this part? So we have that, first of all, somebody very respected from an institution of higher learning, Harvard, was skeptical. What else is the author trying to tell us in this part?
That like TV isn't really an educational thing. Like it can't really teach you anything. So like he's saying like why is he even like trying to do that? Like he understands what he's trying to do, but like it's not gonna teach the kids anything.
All right, that TV has never been used as an educational medium before, right? He says, yeah, it's entertaining, it catches attention, but it can't be used for education, is what he's saying. Quentin?
It's also kind of saying that, you know, even though this sounds like a great idea, it's like, oh, we're gonna fight poverty and illiteracy, you know, it's probably not that practical and it won't work. You know, it sounds innocent and helpful, but it's not really how the world really works.
Oh. So it looks like, is the author foreshadowing anything with this?
Yeah.
What do we think? Sarah, you think yes? What is he foreshadowing?
Well, I don't know, it's kind of mixed signals because he said that he was skeptical, which kind of leads me to believe that he, like, tried it or, like, helped her, but then he said, like, television has no potential, no power to do that, which is pretty certain that it's not going to work.
Right, so at this point, when he's kind of recalling when he was asked to get involved in this project, he's saying, I am very skeptical, right? Like, he doesn't think it's going to